Just a quick recap. We discussed about the fact tables and dimension tables. The intro, they'll ask you what is dimension table, what is a fact table. Can someone tell me what is dimension table and fact table quickly? So whatever comes to your mind, you can tell. Here, there is no right or wrong answer. It is not that we are going to evaluate based on which. Okay, you can open up. We just think that we are all family. Okay, here nothing. We are not going to give you mark and all. I just Priyanka, why don't you open up? What is a dimension table? What is a fact table? Here, all of us are beginners only. Don't yeah.
Okay. Facttable is a table which has a foreign key, and Facttable which has all data regarding transaction data, business data that we can say. And in the dimension table is just a lookup table, like we have a data as primary key over there, and yeah, that's it.
What is that? Sorry.
In dimension, it's a lookup table, and there is primary keys.
Okay.
The keys is over there.
Okay.
And in fact table, there is a foreign key.
Okay, very good. Okay. Okay. Okay, so why it is called as a fact table?
It has a facts value, fact column. It is specifically in the number format, figures of the business or the scale of business, transactions and all that. The data specifically which has a value, the data which has value, or the data we can use to make a strategy or something. Valuable data that we can say.
Okay, what you are saying,
dynamic data.
Fact table have a foreign key to the dimension tables, and each dimension table have a primary key. That primary key is also called as a surrogate key.
Yeah.
Surrogate key. Either we call it as a primary key or surrogate key. Okay, in the dimension table have the surrogate key, which is nothing but the primary key. Each dimension table have to have the primary key, and the fact table have the foreign key to all these dimension tables. That is from the technical point of view. Very good. And fact table, has the values in it. Okay, apart from this, a fact table. So the reason why we call it a fact table is the fact table have facts in it. The fact table have facts in it. So what do you mean by facts? The facts also called as a measures, which are nothing but the numeric values. Give me an example for the facts or the measures. Simple is quantity, right? Units sold. Units sold. And you have the sales amount. Okay. And net margin. Net margin percentage. Okay. Okay. These are called your additive measure. Additive measure. This is called your net margin percentage, is called a semi or non-additive measure. Okay. Measure. Okay, additive measure, and we have something called semi-additive measure. Okay, and these are the examples. So now they will ask you in the interview, so what do you mean by the measures? Measures are nothing but the facts. Semi-additive measures or semi-additive facts, they call it this way. Okay, 1 second, somebody is joining. Oh, screen is not viewed. Good, Sumati. Okay, good that you joined. Let me just. Okay, and this the. Okay, I just write it here. So you have something called additive measures. Okay, additive measures, additive facts. It is also called additive facts. the fact table, right? The fact table, I'm talking about the fact table. The fact table, why it is called as a fact table? It has a facts in it. The facts are nothing but measures. The measures are nothing but the numeric values. The measures or numeric values can be, right, additive measure and semi-additive measure and non-additive measure. Sorry, this is your net margin for the non-additive measure. Non-additive measure. So additive measure and semi-additive measure, non-additive measure. So the example for the additive measure is a quantity, sales amount, which means you can add these measures, right? If you can perform arithmetic operation. And semi-additive, the semi-additive measures are right. So the semi-additive measures can also be aggregated across some dimensions. Okay, and for example, I want to find out the number of customers, total number of customers, total number of products we sold. Oh, sorry, the number of products that we sell it. Okay, basically count. Yeah, you can see screen, right? Very good. Okay. So far, you're not able to see the screen. Okay, sorry. Right. So the dimension table, fact table, and then you have in the fact table, we have the measures. Okay, the measures there are three types of measures. One is additive measure, and semi-additive measure, and then non-additive measure. The additive measure, these are the example for the quantity and the sales amount. The semi-additive, you can you can perform aggregation or summarization. Even the additional additive measure also we can do aggregation, summarization. But here semi, as the name suggests, right? Semi-additive. You cannot do full addition, but you can do some kind of count. You can perform count. How many number of customers we have? Customer base, if you want to know that, the count of something. Okay, and then how many number of products we sell it. Okay, now these are the semi-additive, and non-additive or something like it cannot be aggregated. Something like percentage. Can you aggregate the percentage? Can you add the percentages? See, each region, you have some net margin. But some cases, what will happen is if you add the measures, right, that does not make any sense, right? That is called your the non-additive measures. Okay, the classic example is the percentages. Okay, percentages. Okay, let's say in the how much percentage of how much percentage of profit we made in North region. There's 80% of the profit we made, and South region we made 60%, and East region we made let's 40%. If you add all the things, all these things put together, right, goes beyond 100%, right? So those kind of anything related to percentage, right? You cannot do addition, you cannot do aggregation across some dimensions. That is called non-additive. Semi-additive is only, as the name suggests, some extent you can do additions. How many number of products are there in our each store? How many number of items we have it in each store? How many number of products we have it for each day? Okay, so you can sum up the items for each day, but it does not make sense to sum up in the year, right? So in that kind of situation, we call that as a semi-additive measure. The additive measure, semi-additive measure, non-additive measure. In simple term, in the interview, they ask you what is a dimension table. Dimension table consists of the dimension table consists of the primary key plus the descriptive information about the facts. Okay, so for example, in the customer dimension table, we have a customer key column, customer key. That is your primary key. It is also called as a surrogate key. The customer key is also called as a surrogate key. Okay. The primary key, they call it as a primary key or surrogate key. Both of them are same. And here, the dimension table, customer dimension table, have the So primary key, and also it has the descriptive information about the facts. For example, the sales amount. Sales amount is a fact. This is a fact. Any numeric value is called as a fact. The sales amount is a the numeric data type, isn't it? And it is also called as a measure. What type of measure? It is a additive measure, fully additive. You can perform aggregation. Average you can take. You can, what is the average purchase of each customer by Q1 and Q2? Okay, and you can do full additive measure. Okay, you can do full aggregation. You can perform average. You can perform. You can find out the minimum, maximum. You can use all kind of aggregation function, right? So the sales amount is fully additive. Okay, fully additive. It's one of the example. So here the customer time. If I say the sales amount is something like 100K, let's say 100,000. Okay, so this is let's say we want to do some kind of Q1 customer wise, how much sales or revenue we generated. The sales amount is kind of a revenue. Okay, just think that way. So customer John, right? Customer John. So if I say 100,000 in Q1, so what is that? You will not be able to understand. Okay, Q1 100,000 revenue we made from the customer key is here. You will have the key only in the fact table. In the fact table, you will have only the fact table consists of the dimension table keys, dimension tables keys plus the facts in it. Okay, and the facts are nothing but measures. It is also called as additive measure, semi-additive measure, and non-additive measure. Okay, in the why it is called as a fact? Because the fact table consists of the numeric values in it, like sales amount, units sold, net margin percentage, and gross margin percentage, right? So, and cost of goods sold. These are the numeric values, number values. Along with the number values, you have the this one. So you have something like, John's customer key is J01 is the customer key. This is the available in the customer dimension. You have the customer key for the John is J01 and the customer name is John. And if I say in here, okay, J01, okay, J01, the customer J01, the customer key J01, he spent, the revenue we generated from customer J01 is 100,000. If I say J01, will you be able to understand? Let's say your customer base is 25 million. You have, in the 25 million customers, let's say you have 1,000 different Johns are there. Okay, not all the Johns are same. Okay, 1,000 customers have the same name of John. Okay, if I say J01 or J010 to J0, so we have made a revenue from the customer key J010 to 100,000. Can you understand this one, Avinash? You will not be able to understand. You are my manager, you're asking me to generate a report. If I give the customer key along with the measure or the fact sales amount, if I give this, you will not be able to understand. So what we are doing is we are joining this customer key with the dimension tables customer key, customer dimensions tables customer key, and then we retrieve the John table, John, name of the customer. So here John. So this dimension table, customer dimension table, gives the descriptive information about this fact. If I simply say 100,000 revenue we made by the customer key 102, you will not be able to understand who is this. Is a Tom, Dick, Harry. Who is this? Right. So what you do is you give that is where the dimension table. It is also called a lookup table. Like Priyanka said, it is also called a lookup table. Right. By joining the key columns between the fact and dimension table, we are adding the context to the fact. In this case, is nothing but the sales amount. And again, how many number of units purchased by John? Yes, you have another called units sold. Okay, units sold, he purchased so far 888, right? So John purchased 888 units in the Q1, And because of him, we are able to make $100,000 revenue in Q1. Okay. And similarly, the John belongs to which region? That is where the region dimension comes into picture. The region dimension, we have something called region key. It's very simple one, region key. Region key is R01, R0101. Right? Okay, John belongs to which region? The next question. When they look at this report, okay, John, okay, this revenue we generated from the customer John, and we sold 888 units. Okay, the next question is which region he belongs to? North region or South region or which place, right? So in US, they say county or something like that. Okay, county, Orange County, something like that. So if you simply, instead of going at the granular level, region case, let's region name is North region. In the North region, okay, here in the fact table, you have a relationship between region dimension and the fact table. So fact table is, you have in a fact table, you have a key called REGKY, region key. So region key, this region key should have the values that are there in this table. Whatever the region key values are there, that one should be there in your fact table. Okay. So in the interview, they will ask you what is the fact table. Fact table consists of the combination of dimension tables keys plus facts in it. Then what is the dimension tables? The dimension tables will give context to the facts that are stored in a fact table. The dimension table, also called as a lookup table. The dimension table consists of the primary key as well as the descriptive information about the facts. The primary key is also called as a surrogate key. Full stop. Don't talk too much also. Talking too much. And if they ask you what is a fact, why the fact table is called a fact? Because the fact table has a facts. The facts are nothing but measures. The measures are nothing but, for example, sales amount, cost of goods sold, COGS, cost of goods sold, and how many units sold, and sales amount, net margin, gross margin, net margin percentage. That's all. Okay. And the next question they'll ask you, what is the granularity of your fact table? The reason why I'm telling all the things, right? If you are smart enough and if you are able to grasp it, you can demand more salary. Okay, you don't have to demand more salary. They will think you're a potential candidate, you're an asset. And based on your performance also, they will determine the salary for you. Okay. Granularity. So day level. Right? So day level. So in the sense, the granularity is at the the grassroots level, at the day level, from the year to day level, they are storing it in the fact table. Okay. So if the granularity is at the quarter level or month level, that means you will not have the day level data in it. If your manager wants to see what is the last week sales and current week sales, you will not be able to give. That is the reason why in the fact table, they store the data at the very granular level. Day level, they store it. So this is granularity. Okay. And then if they ask you, okay, what is a measure? What are the types of measures? We have some additive measure, semi-additive measure, and the non-additive. Non-additive measure, you cannot add it. Anything related to percentage, if you add it, it doesn't make any sense. And anything related to the semi-additive, it's kind of a count. How many number of units we sold in electronics category? How many number of units we sold in computers? How many number of units we sold in the appliances, kitchen appliances? Okay, each category, we can give them the quantity, right? That is, okay. So this is kind of your semi-additive. Anything you do the count, right? That is what the semi-additive. And the measures are, the additive measures are something like you do aggregation on the total sales. And if you want to sum up all the region sales or all the country sales, right? So that is called your the additive measure, fully additive, semi-additive, non-additive. Okay. And they will ask, the next question is, okay, what is fact plus Facttable, and what is, okay, now you explain them what is a Facttable. Okay, and in this Facttable have transaction level data. Every day, whatever, they say in the Amazon website, customers are ordering on a daily basis, that data goes to your OLTP system. Whatever the order you raise it, that will store in a separate database, day-to-day transfer. So supposing you are canceling the order, okay, or you are modifying the order, or you are, raising a new order. Okay, so all the information will get stored in your Facttable. So when you raise any order, that one will get stored. When you cancel order, that one also will get stored in your Facttable, because we want to know later point in time, customer wise, how many number of orders they raised it, how many number of orders they cancelled it. Right, everything, we want to capture everything in the Facttable. Okay, history, right? It will have an history. It's a transaction table, and here you have the customer dimension. Okay, and you have the region dimension, and then you have the date dimension. And then for this, what is the source? For the customer dimension, they will ask you. Customer dimension table, what is the source? For that, our OLTP system database, we have two tables for this same customer dimension table. For a single customer dimension table, the data comes from two different customer tables. This is customer and customer address table. In the OLTP system, they divide a single table into more than one table. The reason is they want to store less amount of data, so that when you do the join, the performance will be faster. But when it comes to data warehouse, we combine these two data for table into a single table. It's kind of denormalization. In the data warehouse, we do some denormalization, which means why two tables for the customer to store the customer information. Let us combine them and put it in a single table. So this is my customer dimension. Okay, so this is called denormalization. For the customer dimension, the source data comes from the customer master table and customer address table. What we do is we did denormalization. We designed the table in such a way to hold both the customer details as well as address details in single table. For the customer dimension, the data comes from OLTP system. All the dimension, the data comes from the OLTP system. Fine. What about the date dimension? Okay. And the next question is, okay. So will you load the fact table first? Will you load the dimension table first? What will be your answer? Will you load what is the order of loading the data in the dimension table and fact table? See, in the fact table, there is a customer by the name of the customer key J0101, right? Whatever the customer key is there, that customer key has to go here. Okay, you cannot blindly put a customer key. Okay, here the customer dimension, the customer key will be there, customer name will be there. Okay, and Abhinaya, no, not the fact table. The first thing is the dimension table should get loaded. The dimension table should be there. First, you need to load the dimension table, and then only you need to load it in the fact table. Okay, if right, let's say in the case of bank, so already you have an account with the bank, you are a old customer, already your data will be there, your account number, your name will be there, and then what kind of transaction you made, who made, John, customer key J0101, and how much money withdrawn, right? Money withdrawn, and how much money deposited, right? And when, which day, and date key, right? Which date, year. And again, when it comes to banking, date and time also you have something other time dimension. But if they ask you what is time dimension, no, none of the projects we have used time dimension. We have used only date dimension. Simply say that because it will add more confusion, it will get more complicated. Okay, date dimension, time dimension. If you want to track at the between 11 to 4 p.m. what is the transaction made by a specific customer, then in the fact table, day level, time level, right? That they will store the data in that much granular level. Okay. So, okay, simple thing. What is a fact table? Fact table consists of the dimension key as well as the facts. Facts are nothing but the measures. For example, the sales amount and the sales amount after say tax. After tax, what is the sales amount? And we have the units sold and the net margin. These are the thing. You tell the theory, and then explain with some data, real-time business data, like the cost of goods sold, and these are called measures. Okay, what is the dimension table? Dimension table give context to your facts that are there in your fact table. Customer dimension, for example, in the customer dimension table, we have the customer dimension key, which is nothing but the surrogate key or primary key. The customer name it gives the context to the fact in the fact table. This gives us the descriptive information about the fact. That's all. In what order they load the data into the into your dimension fact table. First, all the dimension table should get loaded, and then only your fact table should get loaded. Supposing if the customers are already existing, let's say if any data comes in, let's say the customer is ordering in the Amazon system. Let's say your name is, let's say John is he is a is a regular customer. His record is already there in the customer dimension table. Okay, hence it we don't have to insert the John's record here. One second, somebody's okay. You understood? Okay, here the first thing is the customer. Let's say you are existing customer. Your record will see what will happen is the customer you ordered, John has ordered a product. He raised an order. Okay, and it will go and check whether John is already there. It is already there. What will happen is it will go and insert the John's customer key. John's customer key is what? Yeah, J101. It is already there. Since he has raised an order today, it will go and check whether John is a new customer or old customer. It does the lookup. It is already there. Hence, what it does is it goes to your fact table and then J101, it will insert it. And then let's what product he purchased, product key, product P080. Okay, and then how many units he ordered. Let's 2 units. And then the price, and then the sales, after tax, all the things, right? It will be there. It's recorded. There is a new customer called Chris. Okay, Chris is a new customer. This is another scenario. New customer. He is completely new to me. Today only he came to my website and he raised an order. So the new customer name is Chris. In that case, what it does is it goes and first insert the data in my customer dimension table. It goes and insert the customer, that customer dimension table, Chris, and then it will generate the primary key automatically or something. For example, C865, something like that. Okay, fine. And then what happens is this customer, first it has to insert in the dimension table, and then only it has to go and insert C865. And then he bought P855 product, and then he bought 3 products, and that's all. Whatever the keys that you are going to insert in the fact table, that one should first available in your dimension table. Remember this, right? If the existing customer raises an order, it need not to, still it goes and checks whether the customer is already there. Yes, this customer is existing customer, it will not insert it. Simply, it will go and insert this customer key and order number, order date, line item key, and on all. Okay, it will insert it here. What is the transaction will get inserted? Because this is an existing customer, need not to insert it. But new customer, it has to go and insert it here. So the order is first dimension table needs to get, data will get loaded in dimension table, and then only the fact table will get loaded. This is the order we load the data. In case of existing customer, even in the case of existing customer, we do the lookup in the customer dimension table to check whether the customer is already old customer or new customer. If he is an old customer, it will simply pick up this key. It pick up this key, and then we will insert it here. And then whatever the product key, all the things will insert it here. Okay, this is the order we loaded the data. Okay, but in the case of region dimension, we don't load it daily load. So that's what we say in the ETL point of view. This is called your ETL, right? So ETL, you extract the data from the customer and customer address, and then go and check if the customer is already there. If it is already there, no need to insert his detail again. Okay. If he has a new customer, you pull this detail from these two table and then insert into this customer, C865, and his name is Chris, and address, all the shipping address, all the details. Okay. And then you put that guy's key here, and then what are the products and order number, all the things. Okay. You put it here. Okay. Even in the case of existing or new customer, we have to do a lookup here. When you do the lookup, if the customer is already there, you don't have to insert it. The customer is not there, then you'll have to insert the record in your customer dimension. Whatever the key that you inserted for the new customer, that same key should go here. The existing customer, new customer, whatever the key that you used it in your customer dimension, that key only should be there. That is called referential integrity. You could not blindly put some other key for the customer key here. Whatever the key that you are using, that one should be available here. So what we are doing is we are taking when a customer raises any order, this is how the data flows. First, it goes and check the customer. It insert the new customer detail here, and then it goes and checks in our data warehouse dimension table, customer dimension. This customer is already there, but in the source system, we know very well these are new customer. We inserting the new customer, but this is my data warehouse. How the data warehouse table know whether new customer came here? You have to do a lookup, and then say, hey, yes, this customer is existing customer, don't insert it. Already we have the data. And the next step is pick up this key and then insert it here. And then you put, the other details here, the other transaction details, order number, all the things. Okay, first it has to touch the dimension table, and then only it has to do it here. So in the case of new customer, it does. So in the case of, some cases, right, the customer closes the account in the banking, right? So in that case, the customer information will get deleted here. Even if they delete the customer information, the deleted customer information will also be captured here. That is a different thing. Okay, existing customer, new customer, and then making the customer closes the account. Okay, so that is inactive record. That customer will become inactive. So that they will update it here itself in the customer dimension itself. Okay, all the transaction, everything will be captured here. Any questions? Are you able to understand? Maybe, I did not write it neatly. My handwriting is not that good. Hope you understood, right? With this one. So in simple, yeah, if they ask you what is a dimension table, what is a fact table? Yes. And what is why the fact table is called a fact? Okay. And what order you load the data in fact table? Okay. What are the detail? What is the type of loads that you do it? So daily load, which all tables you load the data on a daily basis? Daily load and weekly load. How frequently you load the data from your source system to your data warehouse? This is the dimensional data on nothing but your data warehouse. Okay. Daily load, weekly load, and monthly load. Okay. And apart from this, we have some aggregation table. Aggregation table. Okay. So what is aggregation table? In the source system, in the data warehouse, the fact table dimension tables are available in data warehouse. Okay. In the data warehouse only, we'll store the dimension and fact tables. And apart from the dimension fact table, we have some aggregation tables. Okay. In the aggregation, that is also called the aggregation fact table. So there you will find the aggregated values like the region wise and quarter wise and country wise. Okay, and then category wise, total sales, total units sold, net margin, net revenue, and gross margin. Everything we will aggregate it for this quarter and for this region. How much how many units we sold in total? How much sales we made in this category? Right. That's how they will they will have more than one aggregator. So as and when you load the daily data, the aggregated fact table will also get loaded simultaneously behind the scene. Okay. That we have written the logic, like, we use some group by and all, and then we insert the data here. Okay. So that in your report visual, if you wanted to, the user selects quarter wise, month wise, for a specific quarter, for a specific month in a specific region. If they want to see the sales, when they select that one, it will hit your aggregated fact table. Since the data are already aggregated, the data will get displayed instantly. In the interview, you can tell them we have recommended to create an aggregated fact table in the source system itself, so that as and when we load the data in our fact table, that time itself the aggregated table will also get populated simultaneously. So in that case, what happens is, in the report, whenever we generate a report, like, monthly report, quarterly report, since the data are already aggregated, it will display the values and the visuals in a pretty fast manner. After I joined this project, or after I joined, after I got into this project, these are the observations. They did not have any aggregated table. I recommended them to create the aggregated table at the source system itself. And after we created the aggregate table, and we came up with the load data transformation load strategy, after which we were able to improve the report performance. Okay, you just watch my video one more time, two more, second time, third time, right? So when you watch it more than 2 or 3 times, you'll be able to understand. Okay. And also we discussed about active versus inactive relationship. What is active and inactive relationships? This is very specific to Power BI. You can create only one active relationship at a time, right? So in between the tables, you cannot have more than one active relationship between the tables as of today. In the case of Power BI, what is inactive relationship? Yes, you can create more than one relationship between the tables, but at any point in time, you can have only one active relationship. For example, I have created in our project, you can tell them in our project, we have created between the fact table and the other dimension table, we created 4 relationships. Out of the 4 relationships, only one relationship was active. Okay, and what we did, we have used the DAX function to temporarily enable the inactive relationship into active relationship to perform the calculations. That's all. Okay, and so how do you enable the inactive to active relationship? Which function that you used it? Which function you used it? Priyanka, how do you, which DAX function you will use it to enable your inactive to active relationship?
Relationship, relationship
DAX
function, no?
function. Use relationship. Yeah, correct. Use
Yeah.
relationship. Use relationship. Use relation. I think use relation, right? Use relation or use relationship. Okay, this function, DAX function, you will use it. Okay, and to enable. But can you use the? Can you tell me? These. Can you remember the syntax? We don't need the exact syntax. Can I use the use relationship upfront? No, you'll have to use. You'll have to use the use relationship. No, you need to wrap the use relationship using calculate function. Okay, calculate use relation. The first, the argument supposed to your expression, comma, use relationship. Here you will define the dimension table and fact table key columns, which you want to establish relationship. That's all. And then your sum of sales. All right. So ship date by sales count. I want to say summary of sales. I want to find it. Last week I demonstrated. Okay, what is active in how to enable? Okay, supposing when I have more inactive relationship between the tables, what will happen? What will happen? We will end up creating more number of measures, right? In that measure, we'll be using the use relationship function. You are temporarily, right? You are creating more relationship. Obviously, it will slow down the performance, but there is no way out, right? Other way out is we can use role-playing dimension. What is role-playing dimension? What is role-playing dimension? What is role playing dimension? How many of you remember this? Last session I explained it, right? See, if I give a break, please utilize that as an opportunity. Like Pavat, right? As he rightly said, good that I have time to revise the topic, whatever you covered. So what is role-playing dimension? Pavat, did you get a chance? Pavat, he was in travel. Okay, understood. Role-playing dimension is the same dimension plays different role. The classic, you can tell the same thing, right? Listen, we have a date dimension. You can tell the same thing. We have a date dimension. And then the same date dimension, we duplicated it. Okay, and we copy pasted all the content or the columns, values, everything from the date dimension to other table. But here what happened, we have a fact table. In the fact table, we have something called the classic example, the date column. Like let's you have something called order date, and you have the ship date. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say sales value. Okay. So my manager wants to see a report when dimension table multiple relation. That is not role-playing dimension, Priyanka. Okay, so you have the fact table. In the fact, we have order date and ship date and sales. Where my manager wants to see the sales amount by order date, sales amount by order date, and sales amount by ship date. Two different reports. If I create a relationship between this date table to fact table order date, listen here, I have a date key and order date. I have created a relationship. So with this relationship, what what we can do is with this, we can create a report which shows or displays sales amount by order date. This is possible. But can I show the second one, sales amount by ship date? Is it possible? That is not possible. Right? So in that case, I need to create more than one relationship. But if I create more than one relationship, the second relationship will become your inactive relationship. So date key, order date, or date, listen, simply date and order date, and date and ship date. But here, since I created this relationship, after creating this one, this will become inactive relationship. The dashed line tells us it's inactive relationship. Since it is inactive relationship, the values will not get propagated from here to here. Okay, and here the value by default this value. Hence, the first report is possible. Sales amount by order date is possible, but sales amount by ship date is not possible, because though we have a relationship exists between these two columns, between these two tables, I cannot do it because this is inactive relationship. How do I enable the inactive to active relationship? That is where use the use relationship function. This is one of the examples. Very simple, guys. Even 10th standard CBSE student can understand it. But only thing is you need to have the rigor. Seriously prepare it, you will crack the interview. Okay, that's all. But here the inactive relationship, instead of creating more than one relationship is possible, but at a time you can have only one active relationship. You cannot have multiple active relationship between the tables. You can create more than one relationship, but only one relationship will be an active relationship. The rest of them will be your inactive, will become automatically inactive relationship. So to overcome this, what we can do is we just duplicate this table. I just say this ship date dimension. Okay. So here all the values are there here. So now what I do is I will create the relationship between this table's date key and this table's ship date. This table date and order date. Since there is only one relationship exists, it's an active here, you're also active here. You don't have to use the DAX function here. Okay, no problem. I understood. Okay. So this is the one. So here, this dimension is called your role playing, because the same dimension we duplicated. One thing is we renamed we gave the different name. The same dimension plays different role. This dimension helps us to filter the order date from this table, whereas this dimension table filter the ship date in this table, because ship date and date column got we create a relationship. This I explained in the last session. Priyanka, probably I will share that video. You can watch that video, previous week video. You can watch it. Okay. A single dimension plays multiple role. That is what you are that is what we call the role playing dimension. Yeah, this is very important. Role playing dimension is not specific to Power BI. The data modeling is universal. Okay. You take any application, we do data modeling. Okay, whether it's Tableau or you take any tool in your, let's say the customer already have data warehouse, they would have done data modeling design already. They would have created the role playing dimension, everything as part of the modeling strategy. There are some customers, they use role playing dimension, and they have something called confound dimension. It is also called as a shared dimension. Okay, you can use one same dimension for creating multiple dimensions for your fact table. That is the purpose of role playing dimension. Next one is the direction of the relationship. We discussed this one also. There are two types of in the direction, right? There are two options are there in the case of cross filter, single and both. This is one to many and both ways. Okay. So what is cross filter direction? Unidirection. There are two, the properties are there. I just go and explain you step by step. This is my data model. Okay, I will not take this example. I will explain because this is very important. That's why I'm repeating it one more time. Look here, these are the dimension tables. Okay, I just keep the dimension table and then I will put the fact table down here. This is my date, all the dimension tables. I just put it here. And you can ignore sales W04 for the time being. So we have 3 dimension tables and 1 fact table. And if you see the relationship here, okay, it is a unidirectional relationship, right? So if I keep the cursor here, product ID and product ID, these 2 columns got highlighted. That means the product dimension table and sales fact table, we have created the relationship based on the common column product ID, because in the product table we have product ID, right? And if you look at the fact table, only product ID is matching with this one, right? The cat ID, cost price, product name, that is not there. Hence, the common column between these 2 tables is product ID. Okay. And we don't have the product name here, right? We don't have the cost price. So, but I need to join these 2 tables. To join these 2 tables, I need to create the relationship. In order to create the relationship, I need to have the common column between these 2 tables. The product ID is the common column. We don't see any other column that are common here, right? So we have used the product ID. I will just delete this one more time and I'll show you how to create the relationship from the beginning. The product ID and product. See, what I do is I just select this one and then drag and drop it. And then I just drag the product ID from product dimension table and drop it on top the fact table's product ID. It will, right? So the moment you do it, automatically you can see the line here, this link. And if you hover the cursor, which means if you keep the cursor on top of this, you can understand this. The product dimension fact table, we have used the product ID as a common column to create this relationship. It is as simple as that. But it is a unique, unidirectional relationship. See, the arrow is pointing downward, which means the product ID from the product dimension is flowing down to your fact table. Similarly, here, if you hover the cursor here, location key and location key from your location dimension table is flowing from your dimension table to your fact table. It is going in this direction. Okay, product and location dimension. And then we have date dimension. Okay, in this case, the date, look here, date and order date, I have created a relationship. And also we have created one more relationship. Yeah, if you keep the cursor, ship date and ship and a date column we created. Okay, so now the question is, okay, I just, there is another way of creating the relationship between the tables. The thing is, right, you just double click on it. Okay, I just remove this. Instead of drag and drop it, I just delete it. Actually, if you do it this way, you will be able to understand the second approach. If you are a beginner, right, let's say these 2 tables, we don't see any line, right? But we need to create the relationship between these 2 tables. Why should I create a relation between these tables? Only then you can do filtering. Okay. So there is another approach to create the relationship between the two tables. Instead of dragging and dropping it, I just click on the manage relationship here. And here what I do is I'm going to click on the new. I want to create the new relationship between product and fact table. Here I just select the product dimension table. And then here I'm going to select the fact table. Okay, because I want to use the product dimension table to filter my fact table. Look here, automatically it highlighted these two columns, product ID and product ID. See, you cannot select this column and this column. Okay, it is not the common column. Cat ID is different, product ID is different. Avinash, you agree with me, right? It doesn't make sense. Hence, product ID and product ID are common between these table. I just selected this, I selected this. Okay, and if you see in the cardinality, it is one to many. Cardinal is nothing but the type of relation. Is this a one to many or many to one or many to many or one to one? This is one to many. For each product ID, we have more than one products are there in the fact table. Hence, it is one to many. Here, one, many. Okay, so one to many. Fine. The common column between these two are product ID. And next one is the cross filter direction. Single. By default, it is single in the case of one to many, right? And if you click on this drop down, you will find both. There are two options that are available in cross filter direction. One is single and both. In Wipro interview, they asked this question. Cross filter direction, what are the options, single or both? By default, it is single. Okay. I just hit the OK button and then I just check it here. So the product in the product dimension table and sales fact table, I have used the product ID as the common column. This is how created, right? This is the product ID between these two tables helps us to create the relationship between these two tables. Okay. And if you see here, the line is not there. When I click on close, it will create it automatically. Let's wait for some time. Look here, it got created, right? Automatically create the relationship. Once I define it here, this is another way of creating the relationship between the two tables. Okay. Now we are talking about the cross filter direction. One is the unidirection, the single. The other one is both. Now we will take a look at when we can use both the cross filter direction both. When we can use it. So when can we enable the cross? For example, I wanted to use my product dimension table to filter my location dimension. Okay, what I will do is I will load one more table or file, not this one. I agree. This is because you're all completely new into data warehouse. Dim customer.xls. I'm going to load the customer dimension table also. If you watch here, let's see what happens here. The customer dimension table I loaded it here. Let's wait for some time here. The sheet one and all coming here. This requires some kind of transformation. Okay, 1 second. You just think, this is a parent and child. Your parent can have more than one kids, right? Right? Let's your father is there in a family. He has more than one kid. Right? He can have no kid or he can have one or more kid. Right? Parent child. You just think that way. Okay. Look here, the customer dimension table. This is my customer dimension, dim customer. I just loaded the dim customer table. Look here, automatically create the relationship. In Power BI, as and when you load the data, right? It automatically deducts the relationship between the tables based on the common column. So what happens here? Look here, you have customer ID. If you hover the cursor here, look here, cust ID from both the tables got highlighted. I just loaded this table. I just renamed the table name. That's all. The relationship, it got created automatically. Then you might be asking, then why the hell you deleted? And sometimes what will happen is, for example, instead of cust ID, here they mentioned customer ID, but here cust ID is there. The column names are not same. In that case, it will not, it will not detect. See what happens when you load the file. It checks, okay, in this table, customer ID is there. That same customer ID column is available here also. He put the link. But sometimes what will happen, the naming convention, they will follow different naming convention. Here they say customer ID, here they say customer ID. Okay, some cases, okay. But ideally, it should be same. Instead of customer ID, in fact, we use something called key, customer key, and the key column. Here the customer key will be there. Customer key is there, it'll get linked automatically. But supposing you are using customer key here, but whereas your customer ID is there, it will not draw the link automatically. In that case, you should be knowing how to create the relationship. That's the reason why I deleted the existing relationship and then I have shown you how to create the relationship. There are two ways you can create a relationship. The one is the automatically deduct the relationship and create it. Some cases we need to go and validate, okay, whether the relationship got created or not. Sometimes, let's say you have customer key is there, whereas your customer ID is there. So the Power BI will think, these two columns are different, hence it will not create the relationship. In that case, you have two options to create the relationship. You just drag and drop this column here. Though the column name is customer ID, but here you have the customer key, you just drag and drop it. So in that case, you are telling the Power BI, hey, you need to use these two columns to create the relationship. Okay, it will create the line. Other approaches, you just click on the manage relationship and click on new and then go and create it. That is another approach. Okay, now you understood why we need to create the relationship explicitly. Also that you understood. Now we are going to discuss about the cross filter direction. Okay, for example, we wanted to know, how, each customer, the customer dimension of customer details in it. Each customer purchased how many number of products. We don't care what products they purchased. We wanted to know how many number of products purchased by each customer. So in that case, what happens is from this table, the customer ID column is flowing down from the customer dimension to Facttable. And then here the product ID column from this table is flowing down from your dimension table to Facttable. We need the customer dimension table to filter the product dimension table. That is what we needed to answer to this question. Which question? Each customer, for example, Avinash, how many number of products he purchased so far, Avinash? I wanted to know that. So in that case, the Avinash data in this table, right? This table needs to filter this table. In order to filter this, there should be a relationship exists between these two, but there is no relationship exists between these two tables. What is the way out? This I explained you last week. How many of you remember it? I explained with some layman example, right? Maybe I will pass it. Okay, so now what I do is I just go and show you in the visual how it works. If you shouldn't have to interact, then both, otherwise single. It depends on the requirement, right? Your requirement will not be always filtering the product dimension table with your fact table, isn't it, Priyanka? It is not always like the customer dimension should, only filter this table and this one should, right? It is very dynamic, the requirements. The requirements can be anything, the real-time scenario. Manager is asking you, hey, you wanted to know each customer, how much product they purchased it. Then in that case, these two tables, this table should filter this table. Since there is no relationship exists here, We cannot, this is not a many-to-many relationship, right? So in that case, we cannot, yeah, maybe many-to-many, but here it is not required. Okay, I'm talking about cross-filter reaction. I'll just show you with this example so that you'll be able to understand. For example, here, this is the requirement. Based on the requirement, yeah, if the requirement is not like, if they don't ask you each customer how many number of products, then you don't have to create the bidirectional relationship. Look here, in this case, I have used the sales fact table. Okay, let it be there. And here the product dimension, we are very particular about the customer name. Okay, I just put the customer name. Okay, and then I wanted to know how many number of products by each customer. I just drag and drop the product ID. And then I'm going to create another table visual. In that visual, just for our reference, quick reference, I'll put all the customer name to understand how many number of customers are there in this data set. Only 6 customers are there. You wanted to know each customer, how many number of products they purchase it. So now I have dragged and dropped this column from where? From the customer dimension table, and the product dimension I drag and drop the product ID. Okay. So now what I do is I just check the same thing here. What column that I use it, from which table I use it, you can check it here also, right? If you keep the cursor here, customer name belongs to customer dimension. Okay, the customer name comes from customer dimension. Product ID came from product dimension. I just click on this one and then I just use the count here. Count function will give me total number of records, isn't it? But here it is not doing the filter. Which one? The customer dimension table. Okay, I just write it here. This one comes from dim customer. This column comes from dim product. Since we don't have direct relationship, it is not doing the filtering. In order to do the filtering, the relationship should be there. The line should be there between the tables. It is not there. So what I do is the same story, Sumit and Avinash, right? If Avinash wants to get Sumit number, sorry. Here what I do is I just see this guy wants to this guy, and hence you need to enable by both. Now if you see here, look here, it is giving Pakka, right? Chris in total purchased 8 product and Hemal purchased 6. Okay, now we want to verify whether this report showing the correct data or not. So here I wanted to see what is Chris's customer ID C002, right? I'll go to the data set. How many products he purchased? 8, right? Chris C002. I just go to the data set and then I'll go to the fact table. Here I have the customer ID. What is the customer ID for Chris? C002. But C002, it shows more number of items here. Okay. Yeah, because C002, see, all we need is, look here, P005, one time, right? You can select this one. You can click on this, 2, 4, 6, 8, correct? You're not supposed to see the transactions. All you wanted to know is how many number of products, unique products. P003, you might have purchased multiple times. P004, you would have purchased multiple times. All we need is how many number of products in total he purchased. Not the total sales or total units that he purchased it, right? This now 2, 4, 6, 8, correct? It is correctly displaying it. Now Priyanka says, okay, why don't you show me the same with Hemal? Then I will agree with you. C005, right, Hemal? And then you just go to the product ID, 3, 6, right? 6. You should be knowing how to test it. Testing is also very important. Got it? Yeah. So it is doing the perfect job. Now the which one? The customer dimension is able to filter the product dimension because we have enabled the bidirectional relationship between these tables. Now my manager, right? Your manager is very tough nut to crack, right? He cannot be convinced easily. Now he is asking another question. How many number of products or each product purchased by how many number? The opposite. Each customer purchased how many number of products? Now he's asking, okay, you show me each product is purchased by how many number of customers. To answer to this, to his business question, how will you, what is the solution for this? Now you want to use this table to filter this one, yeah? Then what you will do? You don't direct relationship. Priyanka, you're not able to understand. Same story you put it now. So Sumit doesn't know Avinash contact number. As a trainer, even I cannot ask him. Only when I enable bidirection here. Yeah, both cross filter, right? So yes, here we need to enable the cross filter both between these two tables. Arvind has a question. In this case, why can't we go for bidirectional for all relationships? We go, yeah, that's a good question, Arvind. If we enable bidirectional between all the tables, we don't have this headache, right? That's good, but it will cause major performance issues. Okay, hence it is not advisable. Very smart question, Arvind, right? So I don't want to have this headache, sir. I will enable bidirectional for all the tables, both bidirectional relationship. Okay, now what I am going to do is I just drag and drop the product name here, and then the customer ID from this table. That's all. And here the customer ID. I use count here. The cashew nut was purchased by 3 customers. Okay, and let's see the product ID here. I will put it the product ID here. Yeah, the cashew nut is P004. The P004, the cashew nut was purchased by 3 customers. So this is different, this is different, right? And we can go and check this one also, right? P004, we got it. And then we will, I just clear this one. Because look here, see, after you test it, the important thing what you need to do is you go and check all the columns. Can you see filter here? If you have it, you need to clear filter. This has caused, major problem in one of the projects. This guy, there's some enhancement project. You forgot to remove this. The report was showing, wrong thing, and we deployed it in production or in the UAT environment. It was not showing anything. And finally, when we went and saw, he filtered it. With the filter data only, it was showing all the things. Make sure that once you finish the test, you are going to clear the filter here. What is the product ID for cashew nut? P004.
Sir,
Yeah.
in some cases, how could we remove filters for all the columns? So if you
How come?
if we put it manually filters for some of the columns and we forget which columns ID are filtered. So how to remove it? Like in Excel, there is a shortcut. We can remove all the filters in one go. So how can we do it?
Okay. What we will do is, yeah, that we will go a little later. 1 second. Let's first, explore this one. See, in this case, cashew net is a P004. P004 I filtered. And how many number of customers? In that case, we need to click on this 3 customers. Got it? C01, C002, C004. Right? 3 customers they purchased it. You got it? This is how we need it. So the Arvind question is if I filter more than 1 column, and if I want to remove the filter in all the 3 columns or 4 columns, let's say I have 10 columns, I use the filter simultaneously. Is it possible to do that, Arvind? Can we do a filter in more than 1 column in Excel?
Yes, sir.
Simultaneously, we can do it, right?
Yeah, we can do more filters. In Excel, we can remove that.
Yeah. But in the Excel, yeah, you have in the menu, you go and remove it, right? In the menu, clear all filter option, there you clear it, correct?
Yes.
I
Even
mean,
the shortcut, yes. Even the shortcut is have. So likewise, we can do anything here.
okay,
Okay.
right? Okay, for example, okay, let me just, so maybe, here, what we will do is location key is, Bangalore. I just select Bangalore here, all right, and that's all. But to, yeah, remove the filter on these two things, you have to go each and every column. Yeah, that I need to check it out. That's a good question. But I tried it, there is no option here. Manually, you have to go and remove it. Anyhow, I'll check and come back, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, like that's a good thing, yeah, right? Instead of, there's a painful thing, each and everything, clearing it. And again, if you have more number of columns, you need to go and scroll towards the end, and you may have to check. If you have a common thing here, remove filter all. Okay, who has typed someone in Excel? Alt plus D plus F plus F, super power. Okay, so we have a lot of Excel expert. Priyanka, how to do test? Please explain. Okay, good. So Priyanka, look here. So in this case, cashew nut was purchased by 3 customers. Coffee was purchased by 2 customers. So if I want to check, right, how many number of customers purchased this product, I need to have the product ID, right? So I just use the product ID from the product table. I dropped it here for my reference purpose. Okay. And for example, in cashew nut P004, what I do is I just go here. I simply go and select P004. This is cashew nut. And then I click on OK. Okay. And then how many number of customers purchase product ID? This product, cashew nut. Just simply go here in the customer ID column and then click on this. You can see 1, 2, 3. This is how we can do the test. And then let's take example, the other example, X, right? P003. We'll test one more thing. I'm going to say P003. And then I just select this one. And here, if I select this one here, I can see 4 customers purchased P003. Right? Yes, X. Correct? This is how we can check it out. So in this case, you select the product ID in the data set in your fact table. Okay, and P004 you select it. And then you go and check it in the customer ID column. How many unique, you got it right? Very good. Yeah, that's how we can test. Testing is also very important, guys. Okay. And your manager himself will ask you, hey, can you explain how you got this, right? Even we can convince our US customer, our Indian managers, right? Convince them is not that easier. Got it? So in order to do the cross filtering between the tables, right? In this case, we don't have any relationship between these 2 tables. Hence, by enabling the cross filtering direction manually, we can do it. This is a manual configuration. We just configure the cross filter direction both manually, right? We configure it manually. But like Arvind asked, right? So why can't we enable the cross filter direction for all the tables so that I don't have this headache? But you cannot do it. This is not the best practice. If you do it, it will literally slow down the performance. It literally slow down. For example, you are using the product ID to filter the product ID from this table. Okay, what will happen is it goes in the opposite direction also. Okay, in both directions, you start to the filtering. It will take a lot of resources, memory, and we are dealing with, let's you have 100 million records are there here. Here in product, you have 1 billion records. If you have enabled bidirectional, what will happen? It literally slow down the performance. Okay. Okay, this is the reporting requirement. In that case, I have to enable it, right? Yes, you can enable it, but don't enable it permanently. That is where we have a DAX function. What you do is using DAX function, you can set it as a unidirection. You can use a DAX function using which you temporarily enable the bidirectional relationship, whichever table that you need, you can enable it in the DAX function and then perform whatever the arithmetic operation you want to do it, you can do it. Okay, so now you understood the basic thing, right? So now the next step is without enabling the cross filter direction or without configuring the cross filter direction both, how am I going to do? Is there any other alternative? Because this one will literally slow down the performance. So what I do is I just go here and then I will just enable it as single. I'll make it single. Because bidirectional relationship, if you enable it manually, it will literally slow down your performance. I just go here. And what I look here, it is not showing the correct thing. Okay. So I'm going to create the measure. I'm going to create a new measure. So how do I create a measure? There are different ways of creating the measure. I just clicked on modeling. This is one approach. Okay. Modeling ribbon. Here you will find the new measure. I just click on new measure. So here I say see, don't use this naming convention just for your understanding. I'm using this. Okay, you need to use some meaningful name between the product prod and the fact table is equivalent to calculate. All I need is I want to use the count function. Count will give you the number of occurrences of customers or number of occurrences of products against each customer. Okay, count of dim of customer ID. Okay, and I here what I do is cross filter function. Look here, it gives you the syntax here, left column name, right column name, cross filter type. Cross filter type, here you can specify single or both. Here, what are the columns that you need, which all table and which column you need to do cross filter both. Okay. Here, if I want to use my customer table to filter the product dimension table, I need to enable the bidirection between this table and fact table. Okay. Here, what a dim product ID. Here, I'm going to use sales fact table product ID. Comma both. Okay, I just press enter. No error. Good. So here I just copy paste this visual. This one also I'm going to copy paste it. This one I just drag and drop it here. Cross filter product ID. And okay, 1 second, let me just see here. If I want to use my customer dimension table, yeah, product and product ID. Okay. Here I have used the, okay, let me do one thing. Count of product ID, just remove it. It shows 111 only, right? What is wrong here? Can someone tell me now? The count of, see, this is count of product ID, right? We want to count the product ID, not the customer ID, right? We want to find out how many number of products, dim product. Yes, now it shows correctly, okay? Only mistake is here. Here it is correct, but here what we want to do, we wanted to know how many number of products in total purchased by each customer, right? That is the one. I just copy the same measure and I'm going to create another measure to create this report. Product and fact table. Okay, here cross filter between customer and fact table. customer and Facttable. Here, the customer dimension, dim customer ID, and cross filter. Here, what I do is here I'm going to leave it, and here. Yeah, this is the one. So it displays the previous value, right? Correctly, it shows. Cashew nut we have seen. Remember, P008, right? Or 4. So 3 products, 3 customers, they bought cashew nut. Here, the Chris purchased 8 products in total. So it is doing. But here, why it shows 6 is because, we did not enable the bidirectional relationship manually, right? That is, we just reset it. But anyhow, this is not required. I'm going to remove it. Okay, now the question is, to use my customer dimension table to filter the product dimension, I need to enable the bidirection between these 2 tables. If I want to use my product dimension table to filter my customer dimension, I need to enable the bidirection between these 2. Okay, for example, if I want to use my customer dimension table, this one is already filtering my fact dimension table. That is what this direction tells, right? It is flowing. So here the product ID is already there. Then why should I, enable the cross filter direction between these 2 to know each customer how many number of products purchased? Here itself it will be there, right? Okay, to answer to this, now I go to the sales. So far, I did not touch my fact table at all. Okay. Now here we have one product ID. Product name. Yeah, here when product table is there. Sorry, product ID is there. If I drag and drop it here, and if I go and say count here, so what does it shows here? Chris in total purchased 8 products. Okay, and what exactly this one 25 is? Can someone guess and tell me? Similarly here, right? So I just drop the customer ID here, and here I just enable count here. Hope maybe this one can help you to understand this one better. Total product purchased. What do you mean by total product purchased?
So total number of products in product.
Oh, total number of product purchased by Chris. Total number of product purchased by Hamel. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Total number of, but if you see here, the Chris purchased, in total 8 only, right? What does it source? So according to you, total number of, Tell me, Arvind. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
so go to the data views. So there you can find it.
We can find it. You why to break it, right? You go there and see. See, the point here is, the Chris is C002. Okay. Yeah, we'll go here. And
I saw that no, it has 25 records in it.
oh, okay. Yeah, correct. Right. That's fine. But by looking at the visual itself, you can see 25 records are there, 25 filtered rows. So here you can see that, right? So 92 rows and overall, okay, and 25 filtered rows are there. Okay. So here, what does it says here? And C002, everything is C002. C002 purchased how many number of products here? 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 products he purchased, and 8 product he purchased, right? So uniquely, right? If you see the unique number of the products that he purchased, is 8 products he purchased, but those 8 products he purchased in different orders. Can we say that way?
Yes, yes.
Right? Okay. See, P005, he did not buy it once, right? He bought it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then that's all. And then that is cashew nut, right? And then likewise, how many number of transactions he made in total, number of transactions Chris he made, how many number of products uniquely he purchased. For example, C00 cashew nut he purchased, and likewise he purchased dry grapes, coffee, everything. But cashew nut, how many number of orders that he raised it, right? 25 orders he raised it. Okay, what does it says here? Here, cashew nut was bought by 14 customers. No, 14. What? Okay, now you tell me this one. Yes, this is interesting. Now you tell me what is this one says. Okay, you will tell me. We can go here, and then cashew net. The count of customer ID is C002. No. Ideally, I should have used the product ID here. Product ID is where? Okay. Product ID is not there here, right? 1 second. Okay. It should be other way around. P004. Count of product ID was 25 and 8 here. Okay. So now, okay, let's focus on this one. Product name is cashew nut. And then the cashew nut, what is the product ID? P004. Okay, and if you see here, 3 customers purchased the cashew nut. 3 customers, correct? But 14 records, it shows 14 filtered rows. So what does it say? Yeah. Number of product purchased multiple times. Yeah, no. The product, right? The cashew nut purchased in different orders, right? These are the orders. They purchased the cashew nut. Right? But see, and listen, 14, these order numbers are unique, right? Okay, let's say here. Yeah, obviously, right? 24, all the values are unique here. And here, order date is different. Yes, correct. Yeah, very good. So order date is different, correct. Order date is different. And the order number is also, unique here. Okay, and here we can see that, yes. So the cashew nut was purchased in 14 or different orders. Okay, but only these customers, they purchased the cashew nut, but these customers purchased it, or different orders. These customers, they order it. For example, C004, right? You bought it more than one time. You raised more than one order to buy this. So hope you understood, the difference between this and this, right? Any questions? Maunika, any questions? Are you able to understand or not, Maunika? Maunika,
Yeah, Satya.
you are able to understand, right?
Yeah.
I think you are swamped because of office work.
Yeah, a little. That's not a problem. I just need to pick up the previous sessions. That's it.
Fine, fine. Yeah, that is one thing. But any of the same thing I repeated today. Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
today we discussed in detail because
Mhm.
at the end of last session, I was discussing about the cross filter direction, everything. I
Okay.
extended the same today also. I covered the same topic today also. I just
Okay.
put this one. I will have to share this one for you. Have to to understand this one more time. You need to practice it one more time, and then what you do is try to use these technical terms. Practice these technical terms so that you can
Mhm.
articulate this concept with example with your prospective employer at the time of interview. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, many-to-many relationship. Good question, Priyanka. Okay, now her question is, what is many-to-many relationship? Give me an example for many-to-many relationship. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I will just go to the other one. So first of all, what is many-to-many relationship? What is many-to-many relationship? Why don't you tell me that one, Priyanka, since you have asked that question? What is many-to-many relationship? Definition, first definition, and then give an example. Here, there is no right or wrong. You can tell the wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
If they have lots of duplications in both of the table, in fact table and dimension table, if they don't have a unique key or both have the duplications or duplicate key in both the table, then many to many relationship is established.
Mhm.
Mhm. That's it,
The
sir.
multiple records in a table or related with or associated with multiple records in another table is called your many-to-many. Multiple records in a table is associated with multiple records in another table is called your many-to-many relationship. Okay, give me an example for this. In the interview, they'll ask you, what is many-to-many? Okay, multiple records in a table are associated with multiple records in another table. This is the many-to-many relationship. This is also called as a weak relationship. In real-time scenario, we cannot avoid this. But whenever we encounter many-to-many relationship, it requires some kind of treatment. So in that case, we need to introduce some bridge table between the table. Okay. And I will take this example here. For example, I have simple data here. Okay, I have a sales table. I have a city data table. And I just go to the currently I'm in data view. Okay, I'll switch over to data view. And I'll show you what data is there in sales table. In the sales table, I have a state column. And then I have the city data. In the city data table, I have state column. Okay. So if we go by the state column as a unique key in both the table, right? See, if you want to create a relationship between the tables, it is possible. You can create it if it is a one-to-many relationship. Okay, in the customer time for each customer, there is only one unique key will be there. It is not like duplicate. This is if you consider this a unique key column, but here CA is repeating more than once. We have duplicate here. And similarly, if you go to the city data, if you consider this as the key column, but the key column has duplicate values in it. In that case, if I create the relationship between the city data and sales table, okay, it will cause many-to-many relationship. Okay, I'll just show you here directly. Look here. Forget about this one. I'll keep this somewhere here. Okay, let it be there. I just remove this for the time being. Okay, I remove this one.
Hello.
Yeah. Let's say these are the two data sets given by your manager. Okay. He wants to see a report, something like this. Okay, this PowerPoint does not have that one. Okay, so what I am going to do is, let's say in this table, so you want to use the sales table to filter the city data and vice versa. Okay, and if I go by, see here, what is the common column? State is there. State is there, and city is also there. But if I go by the state, and if I create the relationship between these two, if I drag and drop this one here, or if I drag and drop this there, it shows me many-to-many relation. The relation is correlated to many-to-many. Because in both the table, right? Because in both the table, to join these two tables, I have used the state column between these two tables, right? But in the state column here, I have duplicate. Here also I have duplicate value. If I don't have a duplicate value here, then it's kind of a one-to-many relationship. It is a pretty straightforward. It can do the filtering. But if I use this one, right, as it is, the relationship coordinate is many-to-many. And if I select this one, you can see something different now, right? Earlier, we used to see single or both. In the case of many-to-many relationship, what happens? It shows single. The sales one filter city data. You have this option. Or you have single city data filter sales one. For example, if I use this one, if I select this one, so this is many-to-many relationship, but the sales table filter the city data. That is what I discussed. Let me just go here, and what I do is I just create a table, and then here, and I just want to put the state table, state column. Okay, and if I go city data, okay, here I want to see the sales also. In each state, how much sales we made. Okay, and how many populations are there in each state? What is the population in each state? Okay, and if you go and instead of going to the data view every now and then, I create one table here to view the data here itself. Okay, what I am going to do is I just drag and drop the state here, and each state, what is the population? If I want to see it, yes, I can see that here. In California state, we have 0.90. In California state, again, right, you have 4 population and Texas. But here it is not, you will be confused. California 0.940, 0.4.0. Both the state are same. Why it is showing 2 different things? Because we have, each state can have more than 1 city, isn't it? In California, now it gives you better insight. Okay, now what I do is I do the same thing here. I just put the city here. In the California state, 2 cities. In each city, what is the population? Okay, here in San Francisco, it shows 0.90. And Los Angeles in California, we could see that 4. But again, it repeats the same thing here, right? The 0.90, 0.40, and population is 0.80. Sorry, 80 in San Francisco. Okay, it shows something wrong here. Sorry, the sales. I just put the sales here. If I put sales, everything get messed up. Okay, what I do is I just keep this as it is. Here the relationship is something like this. The sales one filters city data. Or I'll just put the sales here. See, up to this, it is good, right? State, because from one table, I'm doing everything here. But when I mix this one with this one, it is not showing the accurate data here, because in both the table, state column have duplicate in it, right? Duplicate values. Both the table, the multi records in both, see in both the tables, the multiple records are associated with multiple records. Hence, it is causing this kind of issue, right? So how do we overcome this one? So what is the solution here? See, this one is perfect, right? So the California, okay, look here, this are coming from city data. Okay, and 1 second, I'll just put this one also. Sorry, not this one. I just copy this one again. I just remove population for our reference. These are, these data are coming from where? All these columns are coming from the sales one table. All the values are coming from sales table. See, in my report, in California, Los Angeles, we made $60 sales, and the population supposed to be 4. Okay, in San Francisco, next to this one, 0.9 should come here, and WA Spokane, here 0.20, Seattle 0.0. If I put the population column here, these values should come here. But if I put the population column from my city data to here, what happens is both the tables, the state column have multiple records, duplicates are there. Hence, what happens, we end up something like this. The reports are not accurate. It is causing some confusion. What is the simple workout for this one? I'll just show you the data set one more time. Take a look at it and tell me what is the solution. So the city data, state column I use it, sales one, I use the state column to link this one. Now you tell me how I can get the required output. See, if you simply cut the population column here, and if you put it next year, whatever you get it, that is what I needed. Again, here, the city, I sorted in ascending order, Los Angeles. Okay, right? If I cut this one and the population column, if I cut this and then put it here, how it will be? That is what the output I needed. Or in simple term, what I do is I just sorry, what I do is I just take this one, put it in my MS Paint. Along with this, I need the population. But but these two data are available in 2 different tables, and it has many-to-many relationship. I want the output something like this. But if I put the population here, if I mix the population here, it is messing up. If I put the sales here, it is messing up like this. It is duplicate and all coming here. It is not the desired one. So now you look at the data and tell me what can we do now? How do we overcome this issue? Arvind, can we use role-playing dimension? No. See, here it is not about active or inactive relationship. Only in the case of active inactive relationship, we can use role-playing dimension. Priyanka, what can we do? Can we do filter here? What filter? Or you want me to use this one, this slicer? Okay, you want me? Yeah. What can we do? So here, in this case, it is pretty simple, right? Can we use city column? Los Angeles, San Francisco appears only one time. Texas appears Seattle, Spokane. And in sales one, each city appears only one time. Right? Instead of state column, I just knock this out. Straightforward thing, right? Here, this is a straightforward one. if I go with the city column, look here, these two were having problem. Now it shows the perfect thing. Look here with my thing here. Los Angeles 60 and 490.70 is Seattle. No, Spokane, right? Spokane is 0.70. No, this is the one. 4 and 0.90, 0.70 is Spokane. Okay, this is something wrong here. And I think this one is correct only. Okay, 0.20. And no, not this one. Yeah, this is the one, right? So 0.4, 4.0, 0.90, 0.70, 0.20, 8.50. This is the one I put it here, but here Los Angeles, San Francisco. Yeah, here I did not put it correctly. Okay, here Seattle should come here. Okay, but Seattle, look here, let us go by this one. Here Seattle 0.70 and Texas 8.50. And then the sales is in Texas we have 400, correct? And then in Seattle 150, it's correct, right? All the values are correct. See, forget about it. Here also I made the mistake here. In the sales, some mistake is there. And this is the correct one, right? This is the correct one. But between, these two tables, if I use a state column, it is a many-to-many relationship. Hence, it causes the problem. When I use a city column, so what happens is, city column has unique values in it. We did not see any duplicate values in it. See, when you get any data sets like this, don't directly jump into many to create a bridge table, everything, and check you have any column which has a unique value in it, right? Simply don't go by state. Customers sometimes they say, hey, use a state column. Okay. And don't go literally by their word. That's the reason why I did not tell the city column to be used. Okay. And this is one way of doing it. Okay. Now the question is, I have the situation of state and city. Okay. I wanted to combine state and city column as a composite key. Is there any way I can create the relationship between more than one table? Look here. I just show, this is what my question. I just opened this one. I just double clicked on it. Here, city and city, these two columns got selected to create the relationship between these two, because here we don't have any duplicate values. Yeah, what to do if you have other unique column? Okay. So for example, if I have more than one unique column, let's say if I want to use a state and city as a unique column. In California, Los Angeles should appear only one time. And in California, San Francisco should appear only one time. So is there any way if I can select more than one column? Composite primary key. How many of you know composite primary key? If you are a computer science student, you should be knowing. Composite primary, more than one column forms the composite primary key. See, if I use this column as a primary key column or the unique key column, what will happen here? You have duplicate values. Instead, I combine these two column values so that, these two, CA and Los Angeles, both put together unique value. CA and Francisco, when you combine these two things, it is not a duplicate values, right? And Texas, yeah, only one record is there, right? We don't have, again, text TX is not there. So is there any way I can create composite relationship in Power BI, Power Pivot? It is not possible. See, I'm not talking about many-to-many relationship now. Forget about that. Is there any way we can create composite key based on which I want to see? Let's say these two columns are composite key, these two columns are composite key. Is there any way I can create the relationship between these two tables based on the composite key? That is what the question now. So what I did here is, look here, in this table, okay. What I did here is, I create a column called custom. Look here. Custom column. These two values, I combine this together. If I select custom and custom, if I click on OK, it's kind of one-to-one now. If I go here, it shows the correct value only again, right? 0.90, 0.70. Los Angeles, we have 60, right? So this is correct only now.
So you have created a calculated column in both the tables.
Yes, I create a calculated column. It's kind of a, calculated column. Yes. The custom column, look here, if you see here the custom column, here, so okay, what I did, no, I just meshed these two columns, okay, and in Power Query Editor, I think so. Yeah, I just went to the Power Query Editor, I just created a custom column. Yeah, here, custom column. Okay, here, how do we create a custom column? Go to add column, custom column. Here, what I did, if you select here, added custom, look here, in the custom column, state and city, look here, I use the ampersand sign to combine, to merge these two columns, okay? Yes. I created a custom call, kind of a custom column. And then what I did, I just closed this. I combined these two things. I joined the values from this thing. And with this is another thing. The interview, they ask you this question: can I create a relationship between two tables? But in both the tables, I have the composite key. Okay. Yes, but you cannot do it. But instead, you can combine the values in the composite key columns into a single column. And then you can create the relationship between the two tables based on the combined values of the two key columns values. Got it? This is step 2. Okay, fine. The next one is, yes, many-to-many relationship is there. I have to use state column only. So in that case, what can I do? So here, there is no, see, I have created another table here. What I did here was something like, I just went to the table tool and then new table. Or simple thing, here creating the tables and all right. Best thing, you can go to the Power Query Editor. Go to the Power Query Editor.
This is what I told you, sir. So create a new table using all function.
Yeah, all function, we can use it. Role playing dimension. Okay. So here, there is no need to create another table. 1 second. The table, what I'm going to do is that table is going to have only the primary key column between these two tables. And here, what I'm going to do is, yeah, so this is my city data, right? All the things are there here, all the state and all the city is there. But in the sales one, CATXWA is there and CATXWA is there. Okay, fine. So what I do is I just select this one. Okay, here add as new query. Will it be considered table? No, right? Yeah. So here I just remove duplicates and state to, let me just rename it. Okay, this will not be considered as a thing, right? Yeah. So what we will do is, okay, this is not considered as a table. Okay, let me just see, will it, yeah, it will not be considered table. I forgot this one, state 2.
Duplicate the table.
Yeah. Yeah, because query is also considered as a table, right? Yeah, state 2 is there. Even this one is not much helpful. Okay. But here also you have to, here you don't have duplicate values, but here you have duplicate values, but here you don't have duplicate values. Okay. And here, if you go here, will it work here? Yeah, it is completely messed up now, right? Because I removed the relationship. And now if you see here state and state and state and state, will this work? But here I did not use the state to table here. Okay, what I will do is I'll just say, okay, if I go here, see, okay, simple thing here, instead of, in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is, here you can use the custom column here, okay, custom, okay, you can do it that way also. See, simple here, if you use a city column in both the table, right, both the table, the city columns are having unique values, you can directly create the relationship. Hence, there are no, many to many, it's a one-to-one kind of relationship, okay. But, let's say, I have to use a state column as the unique key. So what can I do? In that kind of situation, you need to create a bridge. You can create a bridge table also. In the bridge table, you can have, see, that's what I created here. I'll just remove this one. Why to create so many things? So this table, right? I just created it. You can go to the data view, and there you can use the table and you can create this one. Okay, you can include this one. Or simply copy paste this one, like you said, all function, you can use it. And here city, custom, state, city. Here the custom and custom, I just link it here. So yeah, sales one state, sales one city, and sales one sales. This is the one comes from city data population. Since we have created, now it is doing correctly. Okay. So now the question is, without having this bridge table itself, I'm able to do by introducing a custom column. See, there are 3 scenarios. Scenario 1 is a straightforward one. Don't, if you somebody says, state and state, you can use it. If you use it, many to many relationship. Okay. But along with the state, you have city column. Look at the city in both the thing. We can directly create a city-city relationship between these two tables, one-to-one relationship. With that itself, it works. Don't directly jump into creating bridge table and all. Scenario 1 is over. Scenario 2. In scenario 2, they tell you, you need to use the combination of state and city column. But if I use a state and city column, also it comes as a unique record. Here also a unique record, we are getting it. The composite key, but composite key, you cannot use it to create the relation between the two tables. For that, you need to create a custom column or something like custom, right? So wherein you combine city and state together, you can address this issue. This is scenario 2. And scenario 3, we can use a bridge table. And with that, you can, but here also one-to-one, here also one-to-one. There is no one-to-many here, right? So here one-to-many is not there, one-to-many is not there. Okay. Hence, in this case, we don't need a bridge table. This is a different scenario altogether. Many-to-many relationship, when will it come? The simple example, state and state. State has duplicate value here, state has duplicate value. If I create a relation between these two, it is causing this problem. So for this, we need to use another data set. Now I'm going to discuss about the scenario 3. In the scenario 3, the many-to-many, core of the many-to-many, what I'm saying is, an example for many-to-many relationship. Okay, for example, I have an account table. This is a classic example, bank example. Okay, account table, and then I have the customer table, and then I have the transaction table. Okay, so in this case, what happens is here I have or at least the account ID. Okay, account table and customer table is there. Account ID and the customer ID. Here I have the customer ID and customer name is there. Okay. Here what I'm doing is, in the transaction, right, account ID is there. So in this case, what happens is a single customer can have more than one account. A single customer can have more than one account, and each account can be owned by more than one customer. Do you agree with me or not? Each account can be owned by more than one customer. Is it possible? A single account can be owned by more than one customer. Is it possible? So with this, no, Powered Pari says no. I say yes. See, in my case, joint account I created it. The account number is same. My mom and my name, right? With my mother and my name, I created an account ID. So in that case, a single account is owned by me and my mother. My mother can also do the transaction. I can also do the transaction, right? This is the classic example, right? Yes. So in that case, I wanted to know, how much transaction, what are the transaction made by my mother and what are the transaction made by me. So here you have many to many relationship, right? It's, more than single customer can have more than one account, and each account can be owned by more than one customer. So in that kind of situation, how will you deal with it? Right? So in that kind of situation, how will you deal with it? See, it's already 11:11. What we will do is in tomorrow's session, we will discuss this in detail. Okay, with data set, we will play around with it. And we'll discuss some other scenarios also related to the many-to-many. Okay, many-to-many relationship between the dimension table, many-to-many between the fact tables. That we will discuss it in tomorrow's session. And it's already 11:05 because I'm getting calls from my customers. Okay. And this is, that is the core of the many-to-many. We are going to discuss it tomorrow. Okay. Any questions so far? Tomorrow's session is very important. Don't miss out. Okay, since you don't have any questions, I'm going to wrap up the session now. We will continue the session same time tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Okay. The meeting invite also remains the same. Okay, fine. Thanks.